Hello, my fellow patriots. This is Alex with another Disabled Vets Perspective, and this is Patriot or political chat with special guest Pete the Patriot. Mr. Pete, I am so glad you joined me tonight. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm hoping we can have a bit of fun, a little cutting up and some bashing of the headlines. That's our goal here tonight.
That's my specialty.
No format, no structure. Right, we're disorganized, so this makes us look perfect.
That's right.
But you know, as I said while we were chatting in our pregame show, we have to start this show out the right way. And ladies and gentlemen, this will require a vote, and it's going to be one for me, who is, remember, the host of the show, and number two for Pete, because we all know what number two is. No, I'm just kidding. Nothing but love for Pete. I'm sorry. Okay. All right, here we go. Who wears it better? We're both going to stand. It's the goatee contest. American Joe and Big Jim had the beards and guns, and we had the goatees and guts.
That's right.
Anyway, so I think mine. We'll see here. I think people are going to be too afraid to put a vote in. So we'll just call it me this time.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I will concede.
Right, here we go. Wow, that was really easy. I have a feeling if I ever end up on your show, I'm going to get trashed.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait for that one. I can't wait for that.
Oh, Fred says number 3, his is better. Well, we both lose then.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Got to bow down to Fred.
Right. All right, so I'm in the game of this show, or the show of this game, is this is cold. Neither one of us know the headlines. I simply pull them up and then I close them out as quickly as I can so I don't cheat and know what's coming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a headline out there, a little piece of information that's going on in our news. And 12B Georgia and Watch for War, good to see you all. I think I got everybody else that's jumped in so far. But anyway, I'm going to throw up a headline. I'm going to hit it with a bat. It's going to land in your lap, and you're going to go with it and see what your opinion and if you have any facts on it or anything, and we'll just go from one to the other.
All righty. I'm ready.
All right, brace yourselves. Okay, I want to start this one out. Trump says he's seriously looking at ending birthright citizenship. Real quick, I'll read a paragraph out of it. It says U.S. President Donald Trump said on Wednesday that his administration is seriously looking at ending the right of citizenship for U.S.-born children of non-citizens and people who immigrated to the United States illegally. So what do you think of that, Pete?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, birthright citizenship in this country is supposed to be somebody who's born to two naturalized citizens or people who, are residents of this country, not just for people who come here illegally or are not supposed to be here, and then they have a child and automatically that child is a citizen.
Right.
So that's my understanding.
Yeah.
The way that
it's also going to put a stick in the spokes of the birthhouses. A couple of my other videos I've talked about birthhouses that the Chinese use.
That's right.
They buy up a house, they load them with pregnant women, they pay for everything. Then the women have their baby, and their baby and that woman go back to China, and 18 years later they come over and buy companies and do whatever. So that's going to put an end to that too.
That's
Sean
been going on
just
for a
got
long
in
time.
Here, so we'll say hi to her. It has. It's time for this to be stopped, because we're the only country that I know of that does this. So you can't just go have a baby in some country and say, okay, my kid's a resident citizen, so give us everything you got.
No.
So
and he should be challenging that. He should be challenging that.
Well, as soon as he puts it forward, I mean, he's already hinting to it, but as soon as he puts it forward, you can bet that they're going to be, the liberals and the Democrats are going to be jumping up and down, and they're going to lose their minds over it. So it'll be just very interesting to see how that works out.
Can you name me one thing that President Trump does that the liberal Democrats don't lose their mind over?
Come to think of it, probably not even one.
Yeah, not even one.
So,
Trump gets coffee in the morning. Oh my God, Trump got coffee in the morning. How can he drink coffee?
I bet he used a white mug too.
Oh my God.
I mean, oh jeez.
How can you do that?
It's all over.
That's 3 hours of CNN right there. That Trump uses white mug while drinking coffee. It's the headlines for the next 24 hours.
DM says, "Hey Pete, what I want to know is, does the avocado go inside or outside?" That sounds like an inside joke.
Well, you know what? I did a lot of research last night on this. And I'm going to have to say an avocado goes anywhere the heck that I want it to go, as long as it's on what I'm eating. That's all I got to say.
I can agree with that. That sounds like a very reasonable argument.
That's kind of an inside thing, but it's actually a very serious issue. The avocado issue is very serious in this country because it is a fruit of color. It's a fruit of color, and you don't. What happens is you don't want it on the inside because then you're suppressing the fruit of color being on the inside. You want it on the outside so it can thrive. How about that?
That's magical.
That's some pretty heavy stuff right there.
Yeah, that's almost brought a tear to my eye. Boy, you get real emotional over avocados. Reminds me of this young lady that we follow. She did a thing when they were talking about closing the borders and there'd be no avocados shipped in and all this other. And her little video was just so funny because she's just bawling out loud, crying. I want some guacamole with that. Oh yeah, there's no avocados.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine what would happen in this country without avocados?
It's a frightening proposition.
Very frightening.
But all right, you ready for our next one here?
I am ready for the next one.
All right. New York City, truly a sanctuary city after de Blasio allows illegal immigrants in taxpayer-subsidized housing.
Yeah.
It says here, real quick, read a paragraph of it. It says New York City Mayor and 2020 Democrat presidential candidate, Bill de Blasio, just made it easier for illegal immigrants to obtain taxpayer-subsidized apartments. His administration changed the city's affordable housing lottery by doing away with the requirement that any adult applying for affordable housing, aka cheaper apartments paid in part by city taxes in typically hard to get neighborhoods, must have a social security number or tax identification number in order to be considered for the draw. And now it has been dropped. So I guess you just go in and say, if you make them couple $1 million a year, then you go in there and you say, I'm very poor, I need housing. You don't need my ID. So what do you think of that one?
Well, first of all, it's Bill de Blasio.
Comrade Bill de Blasio.
This guy is a moron beyond belief. Anything that he does, anything that he does in his city does nothing but force more people out of the city as quickly as they can leave, and they're taking all their money with them.
Right. I've mentioned this in other videos. I picture like the YouTube logo holding a revolver up to itself and saying, "All right, you guys keep telling the truth, and YouTube gets it."
Yeah.
They will shoot themselves in the foot if that means getting their way, even if it destroys everything around them.
Well, I don't think it's about them getting their way. It's about them pandering to the next set of voters. Because the people who are actually going to be voting, that are going to be voting, are saying, hey, you know what? I should have that subsidized housing. I'm an American citizen. I qualify for it, so I'm really not going to vote for de Blasio anymore. But those people who are they want that herd to come in there and that voter block to stay there. So he's doing everything that he can to help them instead of the citizens in Manhattan and the boroughs. I just, you're right. He's comrade. The guy is a complete Russian, more than my cat.
Yeah. Well, I want to know what happened to that money that went missing under his wife's watch, and that sort of got raked under the carpet and forgotten about.
That story
there's
disappeared.
A lot of this.
Yeah, that story completely disappeared. Because
the more the liberals break the law, the more they get cover up for it.
Well, here, let me tell you something else. Have you heard anything about Elijah Cummings in Baltimore in the last couple of weeks, when they said they wanted to know where the all those millions, hundreds of millions of dollars went? You haven't heard much about that either, have you?
Yeah, something like $6 billion that went to Baltimore. Baltimore, not to Maryland.
No, just the city, yeah.
And it's right, and it's gone. I don't know, man.
Where did it go?
Right. How do you spend that kind of money in one city? It just doesn't make any sense.
And still,
especially if you look at the structures and everything.
Exactly, and still have a portion of the city that looks like it does. It's something that needs to be investigated. And once again, the president was right to call it out for what it was, because it was a resident of Baltimore. It was a resident of Baltimore who brought it to the president's attention. He didn't actively go out and seek this. It was the people in the city who were asking the president to look into it. So
yeah, I want to do one thing, because when I opened up my show, it just I guess I stuck my own foot in my mouth and forgot, and I'm wearing a sock, so it dehydrated me. But I want you to take a minute. I want you to tell people who you are, where you come from, and how they can reach you on your social media sites.
Me? Okay.
Yes. Unless you know another Pete that's hanging out here tonight with me.
No, I don't see anybody. All right, I'm Pete the Patriot.
Yeah.
I'm Pete the Patriot. I'm a YouTube creator. I am on the left coast of the country. I won't even call where I'm from because I'm kind of embarrassed. I just say the left coast of the country.
Well,
yeah, pretty much that's it. I'm an angry person.
Yeah. Angry Patriots Unite.
Yeah.
If you folks haven't subscribed to Pete the Patriot, I'd recommend you do so. Fun videos you got to watch for the. It's kind of like Where's Waldo. Every time a Pete the Patriot video comes on, you got to watch for the tail of the cat popping up behind him or occasional cat ears.
That's right.
It's kind of a fun game. So definitely check out Pete the Patriot. Subscribe to him. And, it's an honor to have you here with me tonight. So,
thank you very much.
Anyway, so enough of that slobbing stuff. We'll go on to the next one here.
All right.
I wanted to say real quick hi to CLC and officially Zimmerman, Zimmerman Bros. How are you? Zim for short. Let's see here. I got to look for a good headline. That's the problem. I pull up all the headlines and then I close it up real quick so I don't get a sneak peek.
Yeah.
Let's see. Bill Maher. Oh, here's a good one. This is from the town hall, and it says, "The more you know. Reporter discovers that background checks work when she's denied a firearms purchase."
Wow.
As you know, the president has taken the universal background checks off the table because it doesn't mean anything since they already do background checks. I mean, what else? What are they going to do? What does universal mean? I'll let you take that one. Go ahead.
Well, the laws that they're proposing for the universal background checks actually wouldn't have helped in the last 3 shootings, because all of those people who did those mass shootings, the one in El Paso, the one in Ohio, and whatever the last one was, the other one,
Philadelphia.
the
No,
one who
because one in Philadelphia, he got that gun illegally, and he
the
had
one who shot up the
fairly
church,
extensive criminal record.
the one
Yeah,
who's
that was I think South Carolina.
okay, that guy. They all obtained
I
their
think.
weapons legally through background
Right.
checks, state and federal.
Right.
So, what is universal back? What do they mean by universal background checks? I don't
Well,
know.
I think it means a universal registry of every single firearm that you own. That's all it can be. They
Well,
want to
too
know
bad
what
for you.
inventory's out there. Kim Laho is here. How you doing? I saw CLC. Who else did I see? Oh, Tony Patriot and Def Loretta Queen is here. So good to see you all. Thanks for coming. But no, I see that as a national registry because we know what the goal is. The goal is to disarm the good people of this country, and their primary target is the veterans because they
Yes,
don't want combat trained people with firearms that are capable of overthrowing a tyrannical government. That's their biggest fear. So
my
that
thought on
they
that.
are.
My thought on that.
What is
Just a
that?
quick thought. You take one veteran, even if that person was did nothing in the military. Just say that they were in the military. They went through basic training, and I don't know. They were a cook. They were whatever. No combat experience whatsoever. That one veteran, with just the basic training that the United States government gives our soldiers on a straight across level, no matter what your job is going to be in the military, whether it's combat, whether it's a tank driver, whether it's anything, but that basic military service is a force multiplier. That one
Right.
veteran can take 10, 15, or 20 guys or girls or whoever and say, okay, these are basic combat tactics. Hold your weapon like this, do this, walk at this angle, crawl this way, and you'll be able to get basic combat skills. So that one veteran,
Right.
you, my friend, are a force multiplier for people like me who aren't veterans, that I can learn from you very quickly how to do that stuff. So they want those people, especially the veterans, to not have weapons for the same reason that you
Right.
said they're the ones who are gonna lead the fight.
Well, the interesting thing about it is when you join the military, even if you're a paper pusher, they have field training exercises where you will be going to the field, you will be doing combat
Yes.
maneuvers and stuff like that. Because the rule isn't like in the army, they say you're a soldier first, everything else comes second. So whatever you do as your primary skills, your job, they call it your MOS.
Mm-hmm.
That is beside the point. You're a soldier first, and you should be
Right.
able to pick up a weapon and move into combat at any point if if you're needed in that position. So I was my official assignment was truck driver. I was motor equipment vehicle operator, but we were a forward operating command. We were called ForceCom because we supply the troops that are forward of enemy lines, and so our training was extensive. Um, Everything we did circled around combat. So if you get any advanced training while you're in, if you're smart enough to go to the schools that they offer and stuff like that, then you become more than a multiplier. You become an executive leader so that you can coordinate task forces, and that alone, they say you need a battalion to take down another battalion, but the reality is you need a few trained people that can
That's right.
maneuver quickly in and out of situations. So R-rated conservative is here. Good to see you. Glad you're here, brother. I will be a very honored and special guest of the R-rated conservative on September 8th. So I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be fun. I
Yeah.
enjoy his show. But anyway, so yeah, the gun grab thing, it's getting.
I think they're going to try and use PTSD
Mhm,
with the red flag laws, saying
absolutely.
that that if you know what, you have post traumatic stress disorder, you might suffer from depression, you might do this. So we're going to need to take away your firearms just in case. And I
Right.
think that's going to be one of their back doors into taking the guns away from veterans, and they're going to
Well,
put it
the one
in the
thing they kind of.
yeah.
Well, I was going to say the one thing they kind of forget is in your advanced training, jungle survival, urban survival, Arctic survival, any of this stuff, you also learn how to make weapons. So just because you get the bullets taken away doesn't mean you become defenseless. It just
No, not at
means you
all.
become more tactical.
And I don't know if anybody
But anyway,
remembers
that's
in the Bible, in the beginning of the Bible, the two brothers. What did he kill his brother with? I think it was a rock. So there's no way
uh,
that you're going to take weapons away from everybody, because if somebody wants to kill somebody, they're going to use whatever's at their disposal to do it. Doesn't necessarily have to be a scary black rifle. They'll do whatever they can. There was just recently in China, not too long ago, I think it was less than a year ago, some guy killed 29 people and wounded 130 with a knife
yeah.
in a train station. So
Wasn't
it's going
he
to
did that
happen
was a
whether
machete he was slinging around, wasn't it?
or whatever. It was a bladed weapon. I
Right.
mean, you got to outlaw machetes. We get to the butter knives. We get to the pickle forks. It's just
You're talking
ridiculous.
about Europe again. That's what they're doing
Uh,
over there. They're taking away everything. I mean, pretty soon people will have sporks. That'll
yeah,
be
sparks.
it'll be prison flatware for every household. A flexible spork.
A flexible spork and a
Uh,
plastic tray. Okay.
here's an article directly related to this. While we were talking, I was scanning. Let me give it a second to open up here. It says Florida man lost his Second Amendment rights thanks to the red flag laws and mistaken identity. And even though it was mistaken identity, I'll bet you he's going to have to go through hell to get it back.
Yep.
Let me read just a second of this. It says extreme risk protection orders, ERPOs, whatever the hell they do, all their abbreviations, commonly referred to as red flag laws, have been at the forefront of the gun control debate. The idea is simple. If a person is deemed mentally unstable and a risk to themselves or others, he or she can be stripped of their firearms. Typically, family members, doctors, law enforcement, and have the power to petition the judge to deem the gun owner mentally unfit to own the firearm, at least for the time being. Some states, like Florida, have already implemented these laws. While they sound great on paper, they have a number of practicality issues. The biggest one is the lack of due process. So, yeah, I mean, there you go. That's an article on that subject we were just talking about.
Yep. Well, due process is the big thing. You have to. I mean,
Well,
this is
how,
the United States. You have to have your due
right,
process, no matter how bad they want to take it away from you. You
right.
have to have it.
Well, how many amendments of the Constitution does a red flag law actually strip you of?
Well, at least the first, the second, the fourth, uh,
The
at
fifth
least
as well.
yeah, the fifth, at least
Um,
6 out of the 10 amendments, out of the first
yeah,
10 amendments. So uh, basically, you
and
cannot
then
control an armed population. That's what it comes down to. And I look at it this way:
right,
what would have happened if the French people, with all the protests that they were doing and all the violence that they were doing in France, which is still going on, and it's been months and months and months now, if they were as serious as they were and had access to weapons? What about the people in Hong Kong? If they
right.
had access to weapons, That's
Well,
what
the
they're trying
governments
to.
wouldn't be tyrannical anymore.
That's right. They wouldn't be so tyrannical because that's what the goal of this country is to take all the weapons away from everybody so we can be a France or a Germany or a Hong Kong. And it's just not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Well, the thing is, if they take all the weapons from everybody but the felons, then everybody else that is good people becomes felons.
Yeah.
When I was in California, stationed in the military, I was always moving some pretty nasty stuff in my truck that made it a potentially a target, especially around gangs when I was running munitions or something. So I bought a gun out of the trunk of a car while I was there, and that thing I had a chest holster with it, and it rode with me every single place I went, even when I wasn't issued my military firearm. So just because you can't go to the store and get one doesn't mean you can't get one. And
Well,
it's just going to turn all the gun owners into felons because I will not be unarmed. Not in this climate, not in this
no.
society.
I mean, one of the statistics that I read about how many firearms there are in this United States of America said for every registered firearm, which there are over 300 million
Yep.
registered firearms in this country, there's between 4 and 6 that are unregistered.
Right.
Weapons that have been passed down from father to son, grandfather to grandson, so on and so forth. Things that have been, around for 100 years.
Right. Before they were ever registered, and some
Yeah,
weapons before they had serial numbers.
yeah, exactly. So, how are you planning on confiscating all the guns? And then they want to do a gun buyback.
Yeah.
The government's, yeah,
Well,
that's,
they want to bring an armed group of combat trained or police trained personnel to take out one person that has their guns. So they're using guns to take guns. It
yes.
makes very little sense. They want to arm themselves, but they don't want to do anything else. They want to make sure that we are not. Nacho live stream came in here. Ashley's here. Good to see you both. Uh, Thinking that I saw somebody else dive in here. I'm not sure how many we have in the chat. I don't have it where I can see that
I
number.
think I got
But
19, at least 19.
awesome! Wow. I guess somebody likes us.
Yeah.
That helps. So anyway, here's another one I pulled up, and it says Overstock CEO resigns amid fallout over deep state comments. When are we going to reach a point that sticks and stones are the things that hurt, and words will never hurt me, kind of thing? Why is it the left has so much power they can manipulate people's entire lives based on their vocabulary and their choice of words? And History Bee just jumped in here. Good to see you. That's your Pete.
Yeah, I'm just,
I know.
I'm trying to gather.
I know it's flabbergasting.
Without saying something offensive.
Right. Well, I don't know what you can say that's not offensive.
Now even pronouns are bad to say. You can't say he or she. You have to say they. And you know what? The First Amendment has freedom of speech in it. And pretty much I'm going to call you whatever I want to call you. If you're a dude, I'm calling you a dude. If you're a chick, I'm calling you a chick. I'm not going to fall into that trap of I have to conform to their particular vocabulary because I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah,
and I don't think anybody else should.
One of these things. Yeah, I was listening to one of these with the social justice warriors, and they were describing their new pronouns, and it was like it's like hesh for he, him, his, and hesh is a neutral term, and then shen or something like that for a female. And I was just sitting there going, what the hell is this garbage?
You see, that's the way they want to be able to control us. They want to be able to control how we speak. and take the First Amendment of freedom of speech out of the picture, saying that if we don't speak the way that they want us to, that's hate speech. Well, there's no such thing as hate speech. Speech
That's
is
an
speech.
interpretation.
Exactly.
Right.
Anybody can say anything and have it considered hate speech. By me calling somebody a man or a woman, they can consider that hate speech. And I can also consider them a moron. So they have their right to think about what they want, and I have my right to think about what I want because I live in the United States under a constitution. So, let them keep their vernacular the way that they want to keep it. I'll say what I want to say.
Right. But yeah, it's fascinating. But here's another amusing article, and it says naturally occurring methane shows that cow farts are not to blame for global warming. Oh, here's a source of chemical energy that's being created by geology. So apparently it's safe for cows to fart again.
Did anybody tell Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez there?
Obnoxious Cortez? No, I think she's still chasing cows around with corks.
Because I think it was Bernie Sanders who just came out today with a what was it, $16 trillion plan to combat global warming and the carbon emissions and the methane gases that are supposed to take place in 2050. It's supposed to take place, would be carbon free by 2050.
Do you realize what that does to the planet? If you take away all the carbon, we are all carbon-based life forms. So what do they want to do? To eliminate all carbon-based life forms? The only thing that could exist on the planet would be lava rock at that point.
Pretty much. But I mean, the world's going to end in 12 years, according to what's her name anyway. So that would be like 2032. Oh, yeah. The world is going to end in 2032. And how is Bernie Sanders doing a 2050 plan? What is he planning for? Because she said the world was going to end already because of cow farts and airplanes. So I'm confused about the whole thing.
The translation was like 12 years and like there won't be anything left. So I'm guessing maybe if it's not categorized as a like 12 years, maybe that's a different number on a calendar or something. I'm not sure. That lingo's a little juvenile for me, and I just haven't been keeping up on it much.
They kept saying, they've been saying this since the late 60s, early 70s. The world's
every generation has a death date.
Yes. But specifically for the global warming. If we don't do something in 10 years, the earth is going to be in dire straits. And then nothing happens and the funding runs out. And then they come up with it again and say, if we don't do anything in 12 years, and then that 12 years passes, nothing happens, and the funding runs out. It's just to perpetuate, keep on it, keep it going.
It's fear tactics.
Exactly.
Everything is designed to keep the population in fear, and fear is another way to control a population. You get the people hating each other because of race, religion, color, whatever, and then you keep fear running through their veins, and those two things can keep an entire population down.
That's right. That's right.
I think about World War II and how they got these people to load up on trains by themselves, and then I look at all these liberal snowflakes, and I realize they would do it again
in a heartbeat.
They would march themselves right up onto the train.
If a Bernie Sanders or an Elizabeth Warren said that this is what the country needs.
Our signal was interrupted a second, but
are we good?
You still there?
I'm here. I'm here.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
It's just a satellite signal. We're just being teased by the weather.
Uh,
I'm going to
well,
get a reputation of having the most glitchy live streams on YouTube. That might make me go viral. I
that
don't
could
know.
very well be. But what I was saying was, if some of these 2020 candidates are saying that, you know what, we need to depopulate a little bit. So if you wouldn't mind, for the progressive movement to get onto that boxcar, there would be people following them because they
Yeah.
walk around with
Yay!
exactly they walk around with the blinders on, and they just blindly follow what these people say. It's kind of
Like
pathetic if you think
we
about it.
hate Whitey.
Oh, geez.
We hate white people, and then you look and they're like, oh damn, you know.
Well, what my thing now is I'm going to call them Caucasian supremacists. This way we don't get any YouTube
Right.
strikes, right? The Caucasian supremacists are the bad guys. They're the bad guys. That's all you hear from these people.
The, right. Well, here's a little bit of that useless knowledge that people can take it or leave it. But the Florida Jim, hey buddy, good to see you. The Caucasian, which is what we translated into Caucasian, is actually a Turkish tribe.
Yeah.
The Caucasians were Turkish. So I don't know how the relation between white people and Caucasian was created because the Caucasians are not white. They are,
Right.
I mean, they're light skinned, but, you know, it just goes to the argument that I'm always saying, what the hell is white anyway? You know, with reparations, I'm at least half Indian. I got Apache, mostly Apache. I got Blackfoot in me, but then my father is a Viking, so he's white bread. So does that mean if the Indians have to pay or the whites have to pay reparations, do I take money from one side of my wallet and move it to the other, or what?
Yeah, just from one pocket to the other. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. I just don't understand how you
Okay, so that clears up that confusion.
yeah, just how can you pay reparations to somebody that doesn't exist anymore? Maybe that's just something in my head, but I don't think anybody owns slaves in this country, and I don't think that there are any people who are slaves.
It's very strange because we are so many generations separated from the nastiness that took place in the beginning of our establishment of our country. Sorry about the connection, y'all. I got clouds dancing in and out of my southern line of sight, but I hope you can still hear the audio anyway.
Yeah, we got you. I got you loud and clear. Now I don't have you. Now he's gone. Is everybody can still see me and hear me okay? How about now, DM? Not anymore.
Okay, good.
Oh, there
right,
it is.
I keep losing the connection, but I'm still fighting my way through it. I saw that. Who did I see? Pocahontas came in to say hi. Good to see you. Anyway, so yeah, the race thing is tired, and it's worn out. I watched a video from a young kid that he went around his house and he was talking about, I just can't believe all the racism that's around me. He's a young black man, but he's really, really funny. And he goes around his house and he says, this is ridiculous. And he points at his sink and it's white. And he says, racist. And then he goes walking through and he goes, oh my God, there's a bunch of racists. And he points at a table. It's got a bunch of white papers thrown out on the table. And he pulls out his toothbrush and his toothpaste. And he's like, oh my God, I'm even got these racists around me. It was a hilarious video. But
But
that's how absurd it's gotten.
the sad thing is there's people
ridiculous.
who think that way. There are people who think that way. That just because you're not a person of color,
Yeah,
that everything is your
they
fault.
are.
How is it my fault?
Oh, holding that thought.
I don't get it. I don't get it. The more people, we need more people like him to make fun of stuff.
I don't take responsibility for the decisions that were made before my time.
No, absolutely not.
And if we're going to talk about genocide and stuff, when they're always talking about how everybody's oppressed, I think if they look real closely, they'll see that the Native Americans still live on reservations, which is that's a form of prison camp. If you've been to a reservation,
I have.
They don't do too well. So they kind of need to shut up with all that now. It's everybody's fault. Yes, absolutely. Everybody's fault.
Pocahontas. Is that the Pocahontas? Is that the?
It's not faux Pocahontas.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought maybe we had
Pocahontas. Huge difference.
Okay.
No, if it was the Pocahontas, then she'd be yelling so loud that we couldn't even hear each other, even when she's just writing in text.
Yeah, because then my wallet would be jumping out of my back pocket.
Right. Anyway, so what have we got on time now? 20 minutes? We may cut our losses and bug out here in a few minutes, a little early, just because we're fighting right now to stay online. I got some clouds moving in on the south, but I wanted to get into this one thing real quick before we do bug out. It's Hickenlooper. He has dropped out of the president race to run for Senate in Colorado after admitting, "I'm not cut out to be a senator." So apparently, maybe he's cut out to be a senator now. Maybe he changed his mind, but that seems pretty stupid. You've just killed your own election by saying, "Well, I'm going to run for Senate, but I'm not cut out for it, so I'm just telling you now."
Yeah. Well, he didn't have a chance at all anyway. He didn't qualify for the second round of debates.
Well, okay. Going back to de Blasio real quick, our comrade de Blasio. Do you know what he is polling at now?
The last I saw, it was -2. Is it still -2?
You are keeping up. Good job, my son. Yeah. I don't know how you poll in a negative. Does that mean that you are even denying yourself so that you refusing to vote for yourself?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's a bizarre number.
Here's one even more funnier. You know the Tom Steyer guy? He's now in the presidential race. Tom Steyer, the guy who always is holding up the signs, impeach Trump, impeach Trump. Right. He was making commercials saying, "Please donate $1 to my campaign so I can qualify for the debates." He was actually making commercials paid for by himself to beg people for money so he can qualify for the debates because nobody is supporting him.
I'm reading here from California Critic real quick. I got to jump up here because a lot of people jumped in. Drop It Like It's Scott came in here. Hey, brother, good to see you. Trying to get him on for next Thursday, so everybody cross your fingers. It says, "I told the same thing to a black man who said the black man has been the most mistreated of all men. You told him I would put the natives and Jews pretty close to the neck and neck." That's a very good statement. Yes, sir. It's true. Every class of humanity, every race of humanity in some point in the history of our planet has been the oppressed group. So I just think they take turns as time goes on. And because of Hillary Clinton, the Libya right now, they're having an open slave trade again. They're castrating black men and selling them into that.
You don't want to tell
Sorry.
people that. You don't want to
Well,
tell
yeah, I'm
people the
sorry.
truth.
Yeah, truth really stings, and I'm sorry. I should control my enthusiasm.
How often do you hear that on CNN or on MSNBC or on any other left-leaning news organizations when they talk about uh, slavery and reparations and this, that, and the other thing? All you got to do is just turn your camera to Libya. That's all you got to do.
Well, if you've noticed, particularly on the Communist News Network, have you heard have you been able to see just how hostile the hosts are towards the guests now? If you're towing their line, they're fine, but if you're not, they're getting downright mean. I mean, it's just almost combative. They have people that represent Trump or whatever, and then they go nuts on them when they give them a little piece of truth.
Well, they have no ratings at all. They have no ratings. And what they have to do is they have to try and get those viral moments. So they can bash somebody who's a Trump supporter or somebody in his administration and bash them and try and make them look bad. They're hoping that it'll go on YouTube or go on Facebook or whatever and go viral so they can get, oh, hey, let me watch this show and see what happens next. Because I think the last thing that I saw, that Nickelodeon was beating them in the ratings by 7. They were 7 higher than CNN. So they have
CNN
nobody watching.
In a roundabout way, they buy their own ratings by forcing airlines and airports to carry their shows. So they're forcing viewership by paying for it, and they're also being pushed to the top on their tube, so that everything goes up to the top, and all of the real content gets pushed to the bottom.
Yep.
So it's a trick, it's a tactic, but
as far as just raw cable viewership, they have none. They have nobody on cable TV watching them.
Right.
They got to do it somehow.
Crazy Chick Sheena's in the house. Appreciate you coming. Okay, the Electoral College. Take just a minute and give me your opinion on what the decision from the courts about the Electoral College. They've voted in our favor, saying that the Electoral College is legal and that they cannot use the popular vote to make their decision in these states that are trying to abolish it. I'm going to let you take that for a second. Let me jump over here and use little girl's room, and I'll be right back. You take that for a minute.
All right, the Electoral College. Thank you. So, the Founding Fathers put the Electoral College, excuse me, in place for a reason. They knew that the big cities were going to be the most densely populated, as opposed to the rural section of the country, whenever the country was developed. So they put that system in place in order to give fair elections, so that everybody in the little towns would have just as much of a voice as the people in the big towns. Because if we didn't have the Electoral College, the only way that a president of the United States would be elected is by people voting in California and New York. So
that's what they want. They want to control the entire country by 2 mass population cities. And liberal mass population cities.
Yeah. They already have the left coast and the right coast. California itself has 40 million people. Manhattan alone, New York City has 8 or 9 million people just in their city. So could you imagine if it was up to them to elect presidents of the United States by popular vote?
It'd be a scary proposition.
It would be a very scary proposition. Yep.
But certain things I just don't think will be tolerated, and I think that's one of them. I think the people would be absolutely sick and tired of it, and that would be the camel that's breaking the straw on the back,
Yeah.
or straw breaking the camel's back, or somebody breaking something. Something
Something.
would get broken anyway.
That's right. Something will get broken. They want to take our Constitution and they want to rip it up, and they want to rewrite a progressive Constitution in this country, where you don't have a First Amendment, you don't have an electoral college, you don't have a Second Amendment, and they want to make it to where it's a free and fair utopia. Well, that just doesn't work. It doesn't work, because
Right.
in a utopia, one person has the power and dictates to everybody else what they can have. And I'm sorry, but that's just not happening for me. That's not going to happen for me.
Yeah, Cheshire Cat says it's only a matter of time before Squat goes down, but I don't think she used Squat. It is kind of teetering, because look at what the anti-First Amendment group does. The ones that dress in black, they are getting downright violent and dangerous, and I mean to the point where somebody was being slugged with a hammer. And last time I checked, hammers outrank guns in deaths in this country.
Yes, they do.
That's a statistic that can be looked up, so
Yep.
I'm not just spitting it. So here's a man using a confirmed deadly weapon to beat on people in a rally, and nothing happens to him. He got no consequence, to my knowledge. I don't know, but
there was no arrest
pretty
made.
much like he was. Okay, well, there were 13 arrests made in that day on Saturday.
Yeah, but not for that incident.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Not for that incident.
There were no conservatives arrested.
No.
It was only an anti-First Amendment group. Yeah, Florida Jim, the assault hammers. Well, his was only a 16 ounce, but I'll tell you what, that little head in the right place can end things pretty quickly for you.
That's right. It'll kill you just as quick as anything else.
Right.
Like I said about those little people who want to go out there and do what they want to do. Protesting in this country is a right. You have the right to protest in this country, and I wholeheartedly agree.
Right.
But it's peaceful protest, and if one of them, just one, got bloodied up enough, and I'm not going to say how far that would have to go, but they would lose the whole thing. The whole thing would collapse, because they wouldn't want to actually have to get into a hand-to-hand combat situation with somebody.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
they don't. They don't
I'm
want
going to tell you now that in a hand-to-hand combat situation, if you find yourself being accosted by a group of people, and you have the training and you are capable, then it's not a put up your dukes kind of fight. Because that's one person mano a mano. Come on, let's we'll dance a little bit, do whatever you want to do. But when you're talking about a group of tactically dressed people coming at you, then your retaliation needs to be completely different. Dangerous Freedom came in to say, hey, so good to see you, brother.
Hey, Dangerous.
Yeah, so I'm not the one to play put up your dukes if I get accosted by a group of people. It's it's a different kind of combat. But that's really all I'll say about that, because red flag laws and all.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen. But as soon as something serious happens to one of these people, and all their buddies are looking at that person laying on the ground, squirming, trying to breathe and choking on bubbles, they're going to turn around, they're going to walk away, they're going to take off their mask, and they're going to say, okay, this got too serious to be, it's not fun anymore. And
you
that's
think they're smart enough.
Yeah, but that's what it's going to have to take. That's what it's going to have to take in order for these people to realize that.
I just wonder if they are smart enough to see that would be the ending point for their quest.
No, they don't.
I don't see an intelligence factor in there that would allow them to correlate the two scenarios. That, hey, if I keep going after this person, I could end up, deceased. But I think they're just too stupid to realize the danger they're in when if they get the right person, it's dangerous.
And you had the on the American Joe show, the one guy who was out there in Portland, he interviewed the other day, and that guy is defending himself against 4 and 5 and 6, people trying to hit him with a skateboard, and people trying to they stole his camera, and he's
Right.
punching people out, and he's kicking people trying to get him away. What's going to happen
Yeah, that's Brandon.
Brandon, that's right. So what's going to happen when one of those things occur again, and somebody is so fearful for their life that they pull out a firearm and they just start pumping rounds into the crowd because they want to get away from them so bad? That's going to happen. It's going to happen eventually.
And it makes it worse that the police officers are standing down. That's not in my blood. That's why I'm not a cop, because I'm a combat trained veteran, and if I see a civilian that's being taken down by a group of people, I'm going to move in, because that's the kind of person I am. And I don't understand why, when the cops take an oath, just like we did as veterans, we took an oath to defend the innocent from enemies, foreign and domestic. That's our job. We are supposed to defend the American people. And for the cops to just stand there and watch, it really, really frustrates the hell out of me.
Right, but that's what their boss is telling them to do.
Right.
That's what their boss is telling them. In the military,
you can you can deny an unlawful order,
sure,
without consequence.
Right.
And I don't know what the rule is with the police, but apparently they can't. And
no,
I think that's incredibly bad for them. It just goes to show you that, well, we're just doing our job is the excuse they use. So when they start coming for the people's guns, they're going to use the same excuse. Well, I'm just doing my job. Well, you're doing an unconstitutional order, and you are going against your oath to the Constitution. Well, I'm doing what my boss told me to do. It's not acceptable.
Well, my job is to protect and defend my rights on the Constitution. So I'm just doing my job.
Right.
So if you're going to do your job and I'm going to do my job, somebody's is not going to come out or is not going to go home at the end of the day. So you pick and choose what you want to do.
The other thing that's bad about it. Yeah, it puts people in really bad situations.
Yes, it does.
I just hope they get a grip on this before people start doing something stupid.
I don't, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think law enforcement or military would ever get to that point. I really don't think that they would.
I think that it would reach a tipping point. The problem is they're going after onesies and twosies. Hit this guy over here and then this guy over here. They're not doing it in a mass format. But
that's what
even
the
though
Democrats
they're getting one or two at a time. Right.
They want to do it they want to do the gun buybacks. And you know what? To be perfectly honest with you, I'll sell you back an AR-15. I will sell my AR-15 back to the government. I don't have a problem with that. But it's going to be at my price. So one of my AR-15s
how many millions?
Is going to be probably about $7 or $9 million. So if you want to buy that
after a while,
yeah, you know what? I got a lot of little lights and buzzers and things. So if that's the price you want to pay, I'll sell it back to you. Not a problem.
Yeah. Well, here's the little trick to a buyback program. When did they buy them to begin with? They didn't. There's no tax money that was used to buy weapons and given to the people. So they don't own something, so they can't buy it back. They never owned it. So
that's
language
just the
itself
government buying weapons.
Right. And people fall for the stupid language all the time. And all this is done by people that study psychology and stuff like that. How can we manipulate the people's idiot brains so that everything that we're doing sounds so friendly and nice? It's just tricks. Everything's a sham.
I agree.
500,000 each, Fred. No, Fred, I think you need to go up on that. Those things are worth a whole lot more than
Yeah,
that, man.
500,000 is a low number, Fred.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
said anywhere
you might
between
get the
7
lower
and
unit
9.
for that.
Yeah, maybe 500,000 for one of my BB guns.
Right. Yep. But the reality is the freedom of the country is worth more to me than even the money that I might get for selling mine. So
Yeah,
they're not going to
not
win this
happening.
battle.
No, they're not.
But
And the president's already
anyway,
backing down. He's already backing down on
yeah,
it. So yeah, it's going to go nowhere.
yeah. But boy, he sure shocked the stew out of people when he came out and talking about, yeah, we're going to talk about the universal background checks and the flags and all
Yeah,
this other. And I'm like, oh my God, what the hell is he doing? But
that's why I didn't
he
jump on that. I didn't jump on that right away because the guy has it in his head. He's going to piss off these people no matter what he does.
Right.
I think if he would enact red flag laws, the Democrats would be against red flag laws.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I knew this was coming, and I said, I'm just going to let him do his thing, and he did his thing, and now we have nothing to worry about because he's not going to sign any legislation that we know of yet.
That's good. Well,
Yep.
with that, I need to inform everybody that is our hour and approximately 1 minute. So I gave you an extra minute.
Wow.
And yeah, I know you're particularly special. So again, Pete the Patriot, I want to thank you very much for joining me here tonight. It's been a blast.
Well, thank you for having me.
taken good. I hope everybody's taken the time to subscribe to you and to hopefully follow you in the future. And I've enjoyed everybody's company. My mods, you guys are great, doing a great job as always. And next Thursday, drop it like it's Scott. I'm still got my eyes on you, man. You and me next Thursday. So we're going to try to make that happen. But until next time, y'all, again, thanks a lot, Pete the Patriot. And
thank you very much.
See y'all next time. Y'all stay in the fight.
Bye.